Tennessee Republican congressman and member of the House Oversight and Foreign Affairs Committee, Congressman Tim Burchett. Congressman, it is just heartbreaking to hear this update that we just got, and also to hear that they will still have to battle very big Santa Ana winds. I used to live in California, so we would always hear about, obviously, all of these horrible situations, the tinderbox that it is, the lack of resources. There are so many, it seems like, also mistakes made, not in the heroic efforts of the firefighters, but a lot of the preparation by politicians. Your reaction, Congressman?
Yes, ma'am. Everybody wants to blame the politicians, but they're going to have to start blaming the voters. Actually, we've got, they just keep electing these people to these positions. If that was a press conference in Tennessee, the chief wouldn't be there, because I'll tell you where he'd be out with his men and women fighting the dadgum fire. You continue down this path, they do this same thing over and over and over. It hits the red areas, you don't get that much attention. They hit these blue areas where these California liberals are, and everybody's pitching a fit. Now we're going to watch FEMA walk in. Now, you have people in my area, just east of me, actually, up in Upper East Tennessee and in North Carolina, that are still living in tents because of this. And that's why I say FEMA needs to be dismantled. We need to figure out a way to send the money to people like Samaritan's Purse and other legitimate organizations that get something done. I'm sure they'll offer all those wealthy Californians $700 a piece, and that won't go anywhere. So you've got a massive problem. You have a governor that cares more about a little fish than he does about human beings. And that is the radical nature of California. That's why people are leaving in droves. That's why I used to be in the U-Haul business, and you never could get the big trucks. Now you drive by a U-Haul lot in Tennessee, they're just full of those dadgum big trucks, because everybody's leaving those states, those blue states, and moving to places like Tennessee. So it's a multi-layered problem. You got to quit re-electing these crazy liberals. That's the bottom line. I suspect there'll be a withdrawal movement to get the governor out. I'd say that's a great idea. From what I understand, it's already in motion. And you better get somebody in there for governor that is not part of the system, because the system is broken there, and you need some new, fresh blood there.
Yeah, boy, is the system broken. And also, President-elect Trump has also said that Gavin Newsom should resign. You also brought up, because also it goes to the city officials. What about Mayor Karen Bass, a former congresswoman? She's fresh off her trip from Ghana, Africa. And by the way, it just came out recently that there were reports 2 days before she left that there were going to be these massive, huge high winds, that it was going to be a potentially catastrophic situation. And she took off, of course, before the blaze reached crescendo. Here's a little bit of Karen Bass, Congressman.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster?
That's an astounding moment. She literally said nothing for about 2 minutes as she was peppered with questions, like she couldn't answer anything. And then, of course, this comes, Congressman Burchett, after Bass and others slashed LAFD, that's the fire department's budget, by $17 million. What kind of leadership is this? And you brought up they were so focused on the little fish, rerouting the water into the Pacific that way. And then guess what? The hydrants are dry. They don't have enough support. Is this sort of just the epitome of liberal policies run amok and with disastrous consequences?
Oh, 100%. And it shows the arrogance of the local officials. The mayor won't answer a question because she knows she doesn't have to. She'll be reelected, probably with overwhelming numbers, and you'll get the same results every dadgum time. And this will not end. This is a man-made problem. They're going to try to blame it on Trump. They're going to try to blame it on global warming, and that is not accurate at all. None of this is accurate. It is complete political failure, and the people of California are going to have to start getting ticked off and say, dadgummit, we don't want these losers representing us anymore. I mean, you don't have to get a Republican, but just get somebody that understands what's going on. Trump called it out earlier. That's why he's the biggest dog in the pound. He said, they won't do brush removal. They won't do controlled fires. They won't do anything, but they'll tear down everything just for some fish that nobody is really sure if it's even endangered or not. So this is a complete failure of the state of California, the local authorities. And to beat it all, don't forget, they sent a lot of surplus stuff to Ukraine, who's already gotten over $200 billion of your hard-earned tax dollars. And my folks here in Tennessee and North Carolina can't even get a dadgum $700 check. So people ought to be mad. And I hope they remember this. Our attention, we want our pizzas in about 30 minutes or less, and that's about our attention span. I hope this got America's attention to what these liberal policies are doing to us all across the country, not just California. And we need to throw these people out of office. This is wrong. They need to be recalled. Gavin Newsom needs to go. He needs to go travel somewhere with his hairstylist and go make speeches to liberal elitists, because that's the only people that are listening to him right now.
Yeah, it is stunning. So many of the mistakes made. And of course, as you brought up, our thoughts and prayers are so much with the people there in Tennessee and North Carolina. I know it is cold, and we've been thinking about them a lot, too. And they absolutely deserve so much help, too. Congressman, thank you very much. We love having you here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rita. You're the best. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you.
You too, my friend.
Sorry, I had to join you in my barn here today. I apologize.
We love that. We love that. You're
yes.
out in the elements. It's great. Thank you very much, Congressman. Great to have you here always.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.